Let's get to the other backfield here, Jay. Is it hope or cope that Ken Walker will one day get some goal line work in this backfield? Because it's just Zach Charbonnet.
Hope or cope, it rhymes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, it's a great device, as we say.
Hopium or copium?
Yes. Look, I think Ken Walker, so we got vultured for the touchdown from Zach Charbonnet, but that was coming off like Ken Walker was kind of owning that drive. I think he had a longish run or a energy-taxing run before Charbonnet came in to get that one. Here's the thing. Ken Walker's better than Zach Charbonnet.
Yep.
He's just so much more explosive. He looks a lot better. And also, here's the thing too, is that yes, 52% snap rate for Ken Walker versus 45% for Zach Charbonnet. I think they got upset because Ken Walker had the taunting penalty. Because he was like dominating the work until that point. And then they were like, come on, Ken, what are you doing? And then he just didn't get snaps for a while. I think if you take that taunting penalty out, I think he gets more snaps. And I think that, look, in terms of who do you want in this backfield? It's clearly Ken Walker. Will he become like a workhorse, legit RB1 who's getting like Jonathan Taylor workload? No, because he's injury prone and Zach Charbonnet demands a certain amount of work, but I still think you feel pretty good about starting Ken Walker every single week.
Yeah, I think you just have lower expectations. The other thing to consider again, so it's a short week on the road, that they had to travel like a week after, 3 days after Ken Walker gets a big workload on Sunday. Now they have to go on Thursday. So certainly wanting to give, especially given his injury history, hey, we don't want to just 3 days after, a big game, have you have another massive workload. So I think that was part of it, wanting to get Charbonnet back in the mix. The other thing that I think is interesting here, though, Walker, I agree with you. Walker's more explosive. He looks bigger. He looks faster. It's sort of like, it is weird when they get in the goal line and they're giving it to Charbonnet and you're like, wait, that guy? Yeah. Who literally like three guys had to pick him up and push him into the end zone. Like he wasn't able to get in the end zone on his own. He just had to get a bunch of help as well, and he got stuffed on another attempt. But the one thing he does do is he moves forward. Like, he just keeps pushing forward, even if he can't do anything with it. But like Ken Walker, a couple times it drove me crazy. Like, he would run, and then he would run backwards.
Wild, man. The spin out.
The spin out.
Like, Calais Campbell wins with a swim move, and he's like, I don't want anything to do with this. And he just runs backwards.
He does.
Right, yeah.
And then he got tackled anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he's losing yardage. And so you certainly, you'd rather be stuffed on the 1 yard line than have somebody run backwards.
Like
and now you're on the fourth. Yeah. You're on the 4 yard line. When active this season, Zach Charbonnet has 63% of goal line rushes and 56% of the red zone rushes, compared with Ken Walker, 44%, 48%. So they're both getting about half the work in the red zone of the goal line, with the edge to Charbonnet. But ultimately, I agree with you. In weeks in which both guys are healthy, I will have Walker ranked as a top 20 running back, and Charbonnet is more of a, hope he scores flex.
Yep. I would think of Ken Walker, to me, he's like rich man's Rashad Penny, where it's the same explosiveness, kind of some boom or bust aspects, all the talent in the world, but health concerns and probably needs to be managed. Now, Ken Walker has reached a much higher sustained peak than Rashad Penny got to. Rashad Penny had a final 6 weeks of 2021, whereas like him and Jonathan Taylor were the two best running backs in football.
Yeah, he was like the Point Break of those 6 weeks.
No, he's Point Break. That's a disservice to Point Break, Matthew, which has had a much more sustained run.
Just over those 6 weeks.
Yeah, like what, in the summer of 1991? Yeah. Point Break lives on. Rashad Penny, no one's going to remember in 20 years. I'm sorry.
I didn't think we were going to talk about it today.
I was going to say 20 years.
Yeah, he was really good for a little stretch, Rashad Penny.
4 games.
Always a believer.
6 games.
But look, Ken Walker's the guy you want in that backfield. Charbonnet is a desperation flex type of guy.
Our last fantasy combo from this game, guys, is the wide receiver 2 spot for Seattle. I mean, it's just a reality, Matthew. Cooper Kupp, another not-so-great performance. Torrey Horton, we've seen flashes this year. Is this a scenario where Horton's going to eventually take over Kupp's role, or do you think they're just so defined roles within Kubiak's offense?
Yeah, I think there's a scenario where Torrey Horton's the better fantasy play, but it just feels like it's going to be JSN and Horton on the outside. Kupp is still in the middle. Look, had only a 39% route participation on Thursday night. He had 62% in weeks 1 through 3. But they tried to connect with him on the deep ball. Like, and if he comes down with it, it's a touchdown. It's probably a different scenario. Like, I think there's reasons to be bullish and optimistic about Torrey Horton, but it does feel like until we see it, Jackson Smith-Njigba is the only guy that you can feel confident starting in this Seahawks passing attack. I know that A.J. Barner, the tight end, catches the touchdown, and they like him there, but just doesn't feel like there's enough volume. And even though Darnold looked good, I was not
very good this year.
Yeah, I'm not a pro Darnold guy this year coming to Seattle, but They protected him better than I thought they would, and he has looked better than I thought he would in Clint Kubiak's offense. There's no question.
I don't think there are 15 quarterbacks in the NFL better than Sam Darnold, the way that he's shown. Like, his month this year has validated a lot of what he did last year. I think the most interesting thing in this passing game is that, you mentioned it briefly, JSN lines up outside 80% of the time, after being like 74% in the slot last year. So Cooper Kupp is the slot receiver, JSN is the X, and Torrey Horton is the other outside guy. I don't think you want any part of Horton and Kupp, though, for fantasy purposes.
Chicago Triumph asks, Kupp seems droppable. Should I just do it when that time comes? Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to roster him.
I mean, I will tell you, if Kupp were available I have Kupp in 2 leagues, and only 2 leagues, and they're both dynasty leagues. One is a 33-man roster, 12-team, 33-man rosters. Another's a 12-team, 25-man rosters. And I can't drop them just because in those leagues, anyone with a pulse. But, like, I wish. Yeah. Like, and I haven't started, anyway. I started him in one of the leagues, the league that I'm tanking in. I actively tried to start him, but in the rebuilding year. But the league where I'm currently in first place I'm undefeated in that league. Okay. That dynasty league, not our league.
We can't validate it.
Yeah, I'm just, anyway. So, yeah, Kupp is definitely droppable in season long. Honestly, he's droppable everywhere. Can't imagine sustained fantasy success for him at the moment.
He's rich man's 2025 Robert Woods, his former teammate.
Wow.
That's basically what he is.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I have him on my team. I'm upset about it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm going to drop him.
Okay. I will not pick him up.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.